Greetings everyone, this is Ashton again from Muse Themes. Today I'm here to show you our brand new Bells theme. Just released from our design team, this is another beautiful, bright, slick, and modern responsive theme from Muse with a great use of fluid width breakpoints. It works wonderfully and responsive, but you'll find that its layout is not overly complicated by any means. We think users are going to dive right into this one without hassle. It's designed, of course, with wedding planners in mind, but with some customizing of imagery and text, this theme can be adapted to represent just about anything with a bright, positive, and jovial tone. Right away on the home page, we have a very inviting layout with some great full-width imagery. And if I scale the browser down, everything responds really smoothly and beautifully, and eventually converting down to a wonderfully optimized mobile site. Scrolling down this page, we have a starter portfolio here that links to albums, which I'll get into in a moment, and a really nice footer with lots of options for contact and social linking. Clicking to the services page, we have this really neat kind of split screen layout here, balanced with photos and some sample copy. And scaling the browser down here, you can see everything adjusts very fluidly, all the way down to a really nice stacked mobile layout. On our wedding albums page, we have a responsive gallery set up using multiple occurrences of our hover reveal widget, which is giving us this really interactive rollover action. And I can click the hyperlink in any one of these to be directed to a more in-depth look, which is designed elegantly here on another page, with some more text info and a slideshow of photos using a simple composition widget. Switching to the About page, we can see some more graphics and subtle touches, and more of that really nice split screen layout, allowing for plenty of space for you to customize text and imagery to your liking. Over to testimonials, we have another take on the split screen responsive layout with lots of room to expand upon. And lastly, our contact page. We have a really tricked out contact form implemented here, allowing you to garner lots of information from prospective clients, including a nice use of our Pick a Date widget, and I'll touch on that in a moment as well. So as you can see, it's a rather simple design, but it's very sophisticated at the same time. So let's jump into Muse, and I'll discuss some of the finer points of the functionality. So when you first open the project file, this is what you're going to see. We've got a master page down here for the home page, as well as an interior master for the rest of the pages. We also included a page with all the style settings, and one with the links to the stock images that you saw in the live demo. First, I'm going to jump into the home master really quick. You can see here that we have a 5 breakpoint setup, and if I go up here to Page, and then Page Properties, you can see that we're working with a fluid width site. This is a great starter setup for just about any fluid site that you're looking to build, even from scratch. There's not an overabundance of breakpoints, no breakpoints up into the 3,000 and 4,000s, and they're evenly spread out. As I click into the smaller breakpoints, you can see that we switch from a regular horizontal menu to a nice mobile accordion menu, and you can customize this by clicking inside to make it expand. And note that inside the mobile menu, this isn't your traditional Muse menu widget, but rather simple state buttons with icons and text placed within, and they're all assigned to hyperlinks. So let's pop out of this, and I'm going to jump over to our home page. Here we have a nice full-width hero image, which we can replace by simply selecting it and using the Fill menu here on the top left. Down here we have a start to a portfolio, and these are just basic images and text boxes grouped together and set to responsive width, as you can see here. And be sure to customize each breakpoint on these, as there's a slightly different positioning applied on each so that you can have a really nice fluid adjustment. These photo icons are currently linked to our sample album page, which we'll get into shortly. And more links and pieces of info are available down here, giving the user a really great first impression when visiting the site. So now let's jump over to the Our Services page. This is the first instance of our split screen responsive layout. It's actually very simple to customize and even to copy or recreate onto other pages. Just make sure that you follow the model that's put in place here. First, note that unlike the home page, this page actually has its width setting unlocked, noted by these arrows pointing outward. That's what's allowing these split screen elements to stretch to the browser width, regardless of how wide the viewer's browser is. Also, both the photo and text box are resting right at each of the page edges, and both are set to responsive width. So just make sure that if you're copying these elements onto other pages or recreating instances of this effect, that you keep those key settings active to maintain that fluid functionality. Now I'm going to skip over the testimonials page for now, but inside you're going to find a very similar layout as the services page. It's just got some slightly different image sizing and choice of icons used. but I do want to spend some time in our wedding albums page. Again, noting this page with the unlocked width, which is what's allowing these photos to expand to full width at all times. Now, if I click on this first image, you may notice that this is not just a regular placed image, but rather a usage of our Hover Reveal widget. I can click the blue icon to pop open the settings panel, and I get lots of options here to customize this widget. If I jump back to our live preview really quick and go to our albums page, and as I hover over each image, I get this really nice hover animation with an overlay color, some text, and a hyperlink. All of that is customizable in this Hover Reveal settings panel. On the top here is the image file, which you can click to replace. This transition dropdown gives you literally dozens of animation options for the rollover, which is awesome. You can change your hover background colors here. And down here is the content and text styling sections. Now, I'm not going to dive too deep into this, so if you haven't checked out the tutorial on our Hover Reveal widget, be sure to check that out for a more in-depth look. But the key points to cover here are inside the content section. This field for title text will be the initial text you'll see. In this case, it's the name of the corresponding wedding album. And down here by link URL. You can enter any external link or link to another page within your site by simply typing the page name followed by .html. In this case, we have it linking to our one sample album page. So if I jump back to my plan view, you see we have one sample album page placed beneath the wedding albums page. But a simple right click on this page will give you the option to duplicate this page, to which you can create a separate album page for each event if you choose to do so. And inside of here, of course, you can see we have a nice simple layout using a composition widget to showcase our photos nice and vibrant. The last page I want to cover is our contact page, or in this case, request free consultation. We have a really slick contact form implemented here on the left. Clicking this once will select the form as a whole, but you can select any individual field to customize the wording and the color. We have these checkboxes here on the top, and you can add more checkboxes by simply selecting only the checkbox group. Now I'm going to give you a quick tip for selecting different elements of a contact form because it can be a little bit tricky. If you hover your mouse over any element, you'll see a tooltip that pops up informing you of what will be selected next. So let me deselect everything really quick. If I go ahead and hover over this, you'll see that I'm about to select the whole group of items, and then I can click to do so. Now if I hover again, I'm about to select the form as a whole, and I can click to do so. And now we have a checkbox group, and I'll click once more to do that. Now you can see that if I were to click again, I would get an individual form field. But before I do that, I can open the settings panel for the checkbox group, and I get an option on the bottom here to add more checkboxes. And down below here just a bit, we have our Pick a Date widget implemented on the date selection field, as well as the time selection field. If I click on this field all the way down until I have the individual text input field selected, I can check my graphic styles panel, and we can see that we have a style applied called date. Now if I pop open the flyout panel for my Pick a Date widget component, we can see that we have the date picker enabled using the graphic style of date. So just make sure that if you change around the layout of this contact form that you assign a graphic style to the proper fields for your date and time selection, and make sure those styles are reflected here in the widget settings panel. And be sure to check out the Pick a Date widget tutorial video for further instruction. One additional thing I want to point out, and I believe that this has been covered in other theme tutorials, but we have a generic master page down here called Style Settings. This gives you really quick and easy access to the color palette and text styling that's been applied to this site. And a really cool trick, if you're wanting to change a particular font or text styling that's site-wide, you can select any one of these text boxes. Let's say this heading 1 box here. And if I check my paragraph styles, we can see that a particular style has been applied, to which you'll find applied to all occurrences of this text style site-wide. And for the sake of example, if I wanted to change the font, I could simply go up to my text toolbar and we could change the font to whatever we want. And then I can come back to my paragraph style, I can right-click on the style and select Redefine Style. This will override that style setting and it will apply to all occurrences of this style site-wide. So it's a pretty cool little function and can save some time. And the very last thing, I just want to point out a little bit of added code that we've added to the head tag on the master pages. It's a bit of code from Font Awesome, which allows for the use of some of those embedded HTML social media links that you're going to find placed throughout the site. So just make sure to maintain that code on any page that you plan to continue utilizing those graphics. And thanks again, as always, for watching. We hope you enjoy this theme and find it useful. It's definitely one of my personal favorites when it comes to fluid breakpoint usage in a practical and not overly complicated way. And as usual, we're all ears to any questions, comments, or concerns that you have for us. And until then, happy designing!